I usually have like dog hair or cat hair on them. Mike's covered with lawn hair.
I'm glad you didn't say grass, because in Washington State people could get confused of what that means, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. Thanks for getting that lawnmower fixed and mowing the lawn. Appreciate that. Here we are. Saturday morning. Everybody sit back, kick back, really think about what I'm getting ready to say. Start thinking about this. You know, it's something I was thinking about this week for myself. Define your relationship between you and Jesus. You know, where are you at? What's going on? What exactly is your commitment level to Jesus Christ? Now, I'm going to warn you, this could get a little uncomfortable, a little anxious, maybe even that fight or flight response. Because some of us, you maybe even really kind of like the arrangement that you have with Jesus and where you're at, and you're kind of comfortable with that. Jesus, he seems kind of like a good guide where you're at on your walk with him. And you kind of like having something to do on the weekends. Show up, worship, talk to people, pray. What it really comes down to, though, is you want the relationship with Jesus with all the benefits, but none of the commitment. No strings attached arrangement. You want this comfort-free zone where you can connect with Jesus from time to time so that it really doesn't mess with our life plans. You want to be a fan of Jesus and not a follower. Luke 9:23 says this. It doesn't say that, but I just got a little bit going on me. So let me get some of this out.
He's a wild man.
I don't know what's going on. Luke 9:23 says, "Then he said to them all," Jesus talking to his disciples, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." And I'm like, what's going on here? What is he talking about? You know, I kind of got part of it. I kind of didn't get the other part of it. Jesus put it this way: if anyone would come after me, he must deny him or her, must deny himself or her, take up his cross and follow me. Followers deny themselves, take up their cross and follow him. A fan is simply defined as an enthusiastic admirer. Whew. Are you a fan or a follower of Jesus? Oh, yeah. So I was looking at myself this week, I think. A fan, Webster's Dictionary. A fan, a fanatic, sometimes also called, I've been practicing this word, aficionado. Or a supporter is a person who is enthusiastically devoted to something or somebody, such as a band, a sports team, a book, a movie, and entertainer. Is there any Seahawk fans in here?
Oh no, Pastor.
Two. We got two. Well, let me get rid of this. Maybe that's why I was jumping around. It'll still work. All we're supposed to go, Seahawks! There we go. Michael. Can you tell me how many touchdown passes were thrown by Russell Wilson last year?
Yes.
Oh, no, this is not going to work. How many? A lot? A lot. Can you tell me how many, I don't know if this is what I'm trying to say is we're fans of a lot of things. A follower of a sports team would be able to stand up and go, Russell Wilson, the other guy, this one, and this one, all did this. That's a follower, and that's what we need to become with Jesus, is a follower of Christ. We need to become a follower of Christ. A follower, a person who moves or travels behind someone or something. I want to be a follower, not a fan. I pray that this church body will be followers and not fans of Jesus, but followers, not fans. John 18:12 says, again, Jesus spoke to them saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. There it is again. Jesus says, whoever follows me. Luke 9:23 says, then he said to them all, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. We are all called to be disciples of Christ. It's written in here. It's written in here. Luke, I kind of understood part of it, and I kind of didn't understand the other part of it. So I kind of wanted to break it down for us, at least for me, and maybe you guys can help, and I can help you. But on Luke 9:23, it says, then he said to them all, we kind of understand that part, whoever wants to be my disciple. I was like, whoever wants to be? Oh yeah, we have free will. We don't have to be. Just because we're called to be doesn't mean that we're going to do it because of our flesh. Our flesh is very powerful, and we'll try to stop God from doing things through us, and we can't allow that. So we have to become disciples of Christ. Must deny themselves, ourselves. Pretty self-explanatory. We've got to deny ourselves of things which we're not supposed to have in this world. Take up their cross daily and follow me. Take up their cross daily and follow me. Man, I was just like, how am I going to get through this? I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't quite understand this verse. So I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I got a little bit of an answer, and I wanted to help us all through this. What did Jesus mean? What did he mean when he said we're supposed to take up the cross and follow him? Some people think, although it's not necessarily wrong to refer as a problem that we are having, as a cross that we must bear. There's nothing wrong with that. In Jesus' day, a cross was a symbol of suffering, and we all have trials and tribulations, afflictions, that may be very hard for us to bear, even with God's help. But Jesus meant something far deeper than this when he told his disciples to carry their cross. He said to them, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. That's Luke 29. I know I'm beating it in there. It's very important that we read this verse and understand it. In Jesus' day, a cross wasn't a symbol of pain and suffering. It was mainly a symbol of death. What Jesus was telling them is that they, us and you, need to put to death he was talking to his disciples, our own plans and desires, and then turn their lives over to him, Christ, and do his will every day. I get up here week after week and I say, we are called to be disciples. And it's in here. And, that's not good enough. I need to show you in here where it says what we're called to do. It's clear as day. 1 Corinthians, I'm going to tell you a quick story about this. The Lord gave this to me, I don't remember what day it was, but I read this to my wife this morning, and she says, that's interesting. She says, the ladies group read this on Thursday, 1 Corinthians 12. You guys read the whole thing. So 1 Corinthians 12:27 is something that I want us to read. 12:27. This is what it says here. Now you are the body of Christ, and members individually. And God has appointed these in the church. We are the church. We all understand that, right? we make up this church. It's not this stuff that we see. And God has appointed these in the church. First apostles, second prophets, third teachers. After that, miracles, then the gifts of healing, helpers, administrators, and varieties of tongues. There it is. We're all appointed something. We may even have an apostle in here. Because this book didn't start and then end. God is the same as he was then, now, and in the future. So this book is relevant today as it was back then. There may be an apostle in here, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it, because we're not praying to know it. We're going to start praying for these things. Opening of our eyes, a renewing of our mind, a renewing of our spirit. There could be other teachers in here. There could be prophets in here. If we're not praying for these things, we're not going to know. We have to ask our Father to reveal these things to us. Okay? So there's that one. That's in there. It's in there, and it says we are called to be these things. We are appointed by our Father. I just love that. I just love that. We're appointed. We're appointed. Is everybody still with me? Nobody's asleep yet, except for maybe Pastor Mike up here. He's awake. You see, Jesus didn't simply call us to believe that he exists or even believe that he can save us. Jesus calls on us to commit our whole lives to him, to trust him alone for our salvation, and then to follow him as his disciples. He said, anyone who does not carry his cross and follow me cannot be a disciple. So we've got to do it. He said it one way, and then he said it the other way. So we want to carry that cross. Is Christ your master of your life today? If not, let's work on that together. Have you put to death your own plans and committed yourself to his will for your life? Don't be satisfied. Don't be satisfied with anything less. For there is no greater joy in life than following Christ every day, not being a fan. Don't be a fan, be a follower. 1 Peter 2:21 says, For to this you have been called, because Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example, so that you might follow in his steps. Pretty self-explanatory. It's not that hard. We just have to get out of our fleshy stuff and get more into our spiritual. You know, it says in the Bible that once we receive Jesus, that the Spirit is in us. The Spirit's there. We have to ask for it to just open up and just get going. You know, his will, not our will. More of Jesus and less of us. Amen? Amen. Let's pray. Father God, we just thank you for this wonderful day, and that you allow us to live and to be able to read your word, pray with our fellow believers, Father. Father, we just ask that you make us more capable. Help us recommit our life to you. Help us dive into your word, Lord, to swim around it and to use it as a guidebook. Father, we just thank you for what you're going to do for us, what you've done for us, what we can't see, what we haven't heard. Father, we just thank you. Lord, bless us. Hedge of protection around this family. All the riders, Lord, traveling mercies for our sick. Be with them, Lord. Heal us. Open our eyes and our ears. In Jesus' name, amen.